I wrote a little piece of paper. I'm going to put it down here as a reminder for me. It says, how can this be an act of love and service? And I don't know the answer, but I'm hoping I'm able to do that today. 14 years ago, I was starting at this most incredible job where I was entrusted to help take care of and protect everybody who used Facebook. And when I started doing that, I found that most often what was going on was just people being people with each other in all of the beautiful and awful ways that happens, and had no idea what to do with that. And so a friend dragged me to Wisdom 2.0, the second one ever. It was a smaller room, and I sat in the back row, and I was just going like, what's all this hippie shit? But the last talk that day was Soren and John Kabat-Zinn and Jack Kornfield talking about what if we were able to see and understand each other and hear each other for the full humans that we are. Parents, children, you name it, right? And if we get a glimpse of that, maybe we would be kinder and more civil to each other. And my brain exploded, and I went to work. And the next year, I was a speaker, and I was so nervous. And I sat down, and I talked to Soren about it. And then I spoke for like 3 or 4 years. Each year was around this idea that the way you make things better online is by listening and understanding the harm that people are experiencing. Embrace suicide prevention, embrace bullying and harassment, understand the experience of teenagers, give them tools that work for them, and that was the job, and it was a beautiful time. My goal as a parent was to make something that I would want my kids to use when it was time. In 2015, I stepped away. The compassion team was there. The name of the whole team was called Protect and Care. That was the job. And I just walked away, and I thought that it was all going to be okay. Yeah, right? Until my daughter asked me if she could go onto Instagram. And I waited. I thought 13 was too young, so she went when she was 14. And then as she started going on Instagram, she decided that she loves cars, and she wanted the world to know about her love of cars. She wanted to be an influencer. I was kind of conflicted about that. And then we were talking at dinner, and he says, yeah, you know, like, I made a post about a car, and somebody told me to get back to the kitchen. And I was like, what did you do? I tried to report it. Did you get any help? No. I did another post, another dinner conversation, and people were talking about, like, her breasts. And there was nothing she could do. She couldn't ask for help. She was alone. She was so distressed dealing with it. I was so grateful she would come talk to me about it. Now, fast forward to like 3 months ago, I'm in Washington, D.C., preparing hearings and something like that, and some of what I will talk about today is some research that I did, which anybody can do when you open a device and you look. And I look, and I found this girl named Becky, and Becky has posted some videos, and it was recommended to me in Reels. And some of her videos are some stuff that she likes, and it's great. And she found this feature that you can find a song, and you can like mimic the lyrics of the song while doing like that. And she decided to do a video that way. Now, there's a couple of problems there. Becky is around 8 years old. And the video that she found, the lyrics were, you like it when I get on my knees and I arch my back. And that video got 150,000 views when I came across it, likes and comments, right? Then you sort of take a step back and you go like, what is this incentivizing kids to do, right? When you create a public account and you're looking for followers, you're looking for likes and comments, and you're a young girl, and you find that the way you get the most attention is if you mimic lyrics like that. And incentive structures, right, are the rivers that carve the world. We had this talk wonderful just now, and we talked about cruelty, right? Recently, and this has been a journey for my daughter, she made some comments, and then somebody came in and said, you know, the only reason you like cars is because you were a passenger when a man was driving one. Why is cruelty so prevalent in this world? I would posit that it's because, in part, it gets rewarded and normalized through comments in social media, because none of these things can be reported, none of these things make a difference. So then, faced with my daughter's experience, I decided to go back in and work for a couple of years. And, I had such an experience the first time around that I couldn't see what was going on. And it took me around 2 years to understand the extent to which kids were impacted by these things. Another example is I would talk at dinner with my daughter, and she would tell me about getting unwanted dick pics. I mean, I'm not sure that a dick pic is ever wanted. But the interesting thing about that is that I asked her, so who's sending them? And I was having dinner, and she said, oh, it's another boy, like, one school over. It wasn't like a predator, as I think social media companies would want you to believe, that the problem's older people. No, what she was experiencing is that boys within her social graph thought it was acceptable to send those pictures. And she said, what do you do? And I said, well, what you can do is you block them. And what do? Well, they just laugh it on and move on to the next person. And this takes me to Jordan. And if you saw the article in Bloomberg in the last week or so, I would encourage you to do so if you're a parent or care about these issues. Jordan is a 17-year-old boy, homecoming king, just the picture of everything you would hope, at least for that circumstance. And he went to see his girlfriend, got home, and then he got a message from a girl from another school saying, like, hey, and it's like, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing fine. And they got to chatting, and he kind of looked. She was a picture with a German Shepherd and everything like that, and they got a little conversation going, and around midnight, she goes like, I would like to play a game. I would like to send you a picture, a sexy picture. And it's like, oh, well, that sounds great. He gets a sexy picture, and she goes like, great, and now it's your turn to send me your picture, but it's really important, when you send me your picture, I want to see your face. And he's like, sure. So he goes and he takes the picture, he sends it, and the next thing she says is, I'm going to send this to your parents. I'm going to send this to your girlfriend. I'm going to send it to anybody in your life. I will destroy your life if you don't give me money right now. So Jordan sends money. Nope, more money. I don't have enough money. Here's my bank account. Nope. You can't do this. Nope. I want to kill myself. Go ahead. I'll help. 10, 8, counting down. Why is this possible? Right? It's possible because we've ended up in this world where it's normalized to send nudes between like teenagers. And nobody wants to do it the first time around. Like nobody's really excited to send that picture or receive that picture, but there's no way for them to say, that's not for me, that makes me uncomfortable, that's unwanted. There are no tools which would be so easy to build that would make it such that that's not the norm, right? Instead, we're in this world where the norm, it is to send those things, and then Jordan sent the pictures, and under the threats, he took his own life. And when I was in DC in January, I spent my time with who I think are the most extraordinary people right now, which are the parents who have lost children to social media, the parents whose children have developed eating disorders thanks to social media, the parents who will not get the time of day from the social media companies to understand the harms that they are enabling that they could prevent. And it's something to be sitting there when a parent takes a bag and pulls out a card that says, here are the photos of my daughter when she was in the hospital with an eating disorder because she felt she was not beautiful enough. Right? And why do I say all of these things, right? And it has to change. And the only way that it will change is if there's a sense of understanding from all of us, first around the problem. Second, what is it that you can do about it? First and foremost, if you are any form of legislator or regulator, or somebody could pass some laws that make a difference, please reach out to me, give me a call. There are so many things that you can do to make this better. I am encouraged by COSA, the Kids Online Safety Act, by the AGs, by these people who are out there trying to make this better, and they deserve all of our support. If you're a parent and you care about these things, or if you generally care about all of these things, I recommend the moment you get home, go to the assorted websites where you can find your lawmakers and send them a message and say, do whatever is necessary to pass legislation. And why am I going this way? Because what happened at the end of my time, the second time around at Facebook, is my assumption was they didn't know what the harms were. And if they knew, surely they would make things better. So I did this large-scale study, and I took the numbers directly to Mark and Cheryl and Adam Mosseri and these people that I had worked with very closely for years, and I found out that they knew, and they had chosen not to do anything about it. And it's been 2.5 years, and there still isn't a button for my daughter to say when she gets an unwanted advance, even though it happens to 1 in 8 kids each 7 days, right? And that's a world where Jordan can happen, that's where the things can happen. But if I leave you with one thing today, as parents who care about your children, who might be too young to be on social media or who might be in the thick of it, what I think is the most important thing, while the system of the world does the work that is necessary to make this better, and that is make it safe for your kids to talk with you about anything. I took my daughter when she was young, and she said, I promised her, you will never get in trouble, no matter what it is that you had done, no matter how you feel about it afterwards. I am here for you, or find somebody who's there for you. Just don't be alone. Because it is through making our kids safe to talk about when they might have sent the nude when they didn't want to. It is by making our kids safe when they might have either been the target of bullying or have accidentally bullied somebody else, which happens all the time, that you're able to come to you and you can help them navigate that. Because if I know one thing from having worked with parents in the last 15 years on all of these issues, is that all of us parents, we know how to parent. But what we all do is because there's social media involved, because there's the latest app, because there is Snap. Sometimes you go like, oh, I don't know. I don't understand it. I can help you. Just take the app out of it and listen. And you'll find human circumstances that through love and understanding, you'll be perfectly capable to help your children navigate. Like, I feel so grateful that my daughter was able to come to me and talk about receiving dick pics, talk to me about experiencing misogyny online. So I could be with her even though she was powerless because the platforms would not provide her with the help that she deserved, that she needs, that they can give. Instead, we end up in this place where there's a few things that are important for every kid to know. Number one, they're not alone. And if they do something that makes them feel alone, it's normal, because what happens with these phones and these devices, even if you're standing in front of somebody, if you get a message that's distressing to you, you immediately fall into the distress of that and you feel alone. And it's kind of in their nature, and there's not much you can do about it, so you can understand that and explain that to them. Number two, ideally, when as young as possible, let them know that if anything ever makes them uncomfortable, that you're going to be there to help them navigate it, even if it's after the fact. And I think by doing so, and by giving them love, you will find that they will respond well to that. And then the last thing I would say is that underlying all of these things, and if you find yourself that you work at a technology company, if you find yourself that you're a coach or in any other role or as a therapist, that the most important thing that you can do is to listen and understand their experience, and let them know that their experience is okay and it's fine. Let them know that their fears are fine. If they're spending time on the phone to soothe them, then find other ways to soothe them and cultivate that, and even give some room for that so that they feel safe. Because it's when they feel safe that you can help them navigate the things that will inevitably come up in this modern life. Thank you.